Hey, this is my new friend. And I'm sure if you want this, you've met my friend before. Now, my friend wasn't always so friendly. Up until recently, him and his minions actually viciously tore down my mental psyche, till I could no longer function but instead be lost in an endless pool of my own self-pity, letting a lingering dread drench over my then lifeless existence. But we're past that now. I killed him. Today, I'm going to show you just what I used to get that dirty deed done dirt cheap on the Heist Battlegrounds Grandmaster. And no, I didn't use Stasis, Strand, or any solor subclass. So let's dive right in. First, let's touch on some reasoning behind the build. Our main issue with the Heist Battlegrounds GM, like everyone else, was the boss room. So this build is made to make the boss fight and its mechanics easy with as few deaths as possible. My main concern was wave management and depositing the arc energies as efficiently and as safely as possible. Note that we didn't have any invis hunters or strand subclasses, so this build takes into account those gaps in our comp. So here's what I came up with. For subclass, I chose Voidwalker. I found that my stasis turrets had too many pillars to shoot around, making them not as effective as I'd like. My strand build didn't have high enough ability uptime, and the boss was consistently all but one-shotting us through Well of Radiance. So I decided to give Void a shot. Now let's dive into fragments and aspects. I kinda wanted to channel my inner Invis Hunter, so I took Echo of Obscurity, which grants me invisibility during and after finishers. To supplement this, I also took Echo of Persistence for longer invis time, and Echo of Cessation for free AoE damage whenever I finished an enemy, and a free Void Breach to boot. If you haven't guessed already, this build is going to be all about finishers, and a constant rotation for survivability. I also took Echo of Starvation and Feed the Void to grant me as much Devour as possible, which I now get for a longer duration because of Echo of Persistence. I also realized I may not be able to finish an enemy 100% of the time, so I took Suppressor Grenade to give me that much needed wiggle room. And to top it off, I chose Child of the Old Gods, mainly for the weakening effect and ability uptime, but also because Chaos Accelerant wouldn't really work with Suppressor Grenade. Now all of these choices led me to my exotic armor. Most of you have probably guessed it by now, and that is the Destroyer from the first Thor movie. I mean, Fellwinter's Helm. Fellwinter's Helm's exotic perk lets us use finishers to weaken nearby enemies, and also as a hidden feature, those same enemies are briefly disoriented as well. And yes, I did test this multiple times, meaning they can't shoot their weapons or use their abilities. As far as armor mods go, everything is pretty standard as with any other GM build. Siphon mods and heavy ammo finder on our helmet, grenade refreshers and ability cycling on our gauntlets and boots, resistance mods for the current threat, and finally, one more finisher synergy with Proximity Ward on our class item, which gives us an overshield while we are finishing an enemy. For those of you who thought, oh, that's really good for Echo of Persistence, that's going to give you a longer overshield. To you, I'd say, I thought the same thing. And I was wrong. But I shouldn't be wrong, because it's an overshield. Come on, Bungie, let me have this one. So I don't get a longer overshield because of this combo, but it's still a great tool for survivability while I'm doing my main thing about my build, which is finishers. And finally, that brings us to weapon choices. Of course, I took everyone's new favorite barrier bow, a solar machine gun with incandescent, because machine guns are the overcharged weapon for this GM, and my standout weapon, that of course being, that's right, a glaive. I'm having flashbacks already. I chose Lubray's Ruin for my glaive of choice, mainly for the solar surge, but also for the perk Turnabout, which grants me yet another overshield when breaking an enemy's shield of the same type. So to recap, this build is all about finishers, and those finishers making you unkillable. When we finish an enemy, we turn invisible for 8 seconds, gain an overshield while performing our finisher, and weaken, damage, and disorient all enemies in the immediate area. These enemies also become volatile, making them easier to kill, and while we're not finishing, we have our long distance bow, our add clear machine gun, and our close range glaive to clear the room and get enemies to finishable health, thus repeating the loop. All the while, our glaive gives us a 97% damage reduction while shielding and a full overshield every time we break a wizard's shield. I will say, this build took some adjustments in my playstyle. Maining Starfire Protocol for the last couple seasons has taken a toll on me. But ultimately, this build won us this GM. To give you a hint at just how crazy our final run was, we started the fight with 12 revives and ended with 4, even though we had a Warlock and a Bubble Titan. Also, our Warlock DC'd right as the second phase began, and we almost wiped 3 times after the boss's shield went down after the second phase. When we finally killed the boss, after celebrating a little too long, we all agreed that my build was a huge clutch in not only keeping the adds at bay, but depositing the arc energies quickly and efficiently as well. So in my book, I'd say that's a win. But that's the build. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm sure you have many. I really enjoyed this build, and it will definitely stay as a saved loadout for the foreseeable future. And hey, I'd like to do more build videos like this, utilizing less popular subclass exotic combos. So let me know one combo you'd like to see me make a build for in the comments as well. As always, like and sub if you want to see more, and stay safe out there, Guardians. I'll see you next time.